just a disclaimer. It's Halloween, so I'm gonna eat a little bit while we're talking.
It's Halloween. I got a lot of chocolate and peanut butter style candy because, that's what I enjoy the most.
I don't really like so peanut butter style candy. Butterfingers is a lot of people don't like Butterfinger, right? Because of
Say it gets stuck in your teeth. Man, some whole shit. Butterfinger's delicious. Fuck what you talking about. It has nothing to do with Bart Simpson's influence on me as a child,
better have my Butterfinger.
So nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger. Then they did the.
I completely fucked that up.
Yeah, you did. I was even gonna give you some bail and just keep going.
Hey man, it's a bit. You know what? I'll say this: it's been a while since I've consistently watched The Simpsons. I definitely miss it.
I've been on a kick.
Yeah, but no. Peanut butter candy, or chocolate bars. I'd say Reese's, Butterfinger. And that's really about it. I don't think anything else really. I don't like variations of peanut butter, like chocolate.
You don't like
candy.
like the Snickers peanut butter squares or whatever.
Like and that comes with like the yellow wrapper, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's
just delicious. You just threw a glob of peanut butter inside a Snickers bar. Like,
I'd rather have just a regular Snickers though.
I don't know.
You wouldn't?
I mean, it just kind of. I love chocolate peanut butter. That's my shit. So I like them both, but.
You don't think they cross lines sometimes? Like classics shouldn't be touched sometimes?
Well, as long as they still provide the classic. Like once you
I get it.
If you switch over to that.
But I'm saying like we in other variations of or other aspects of life.
So you don't like peanut butter Twix?
Hear me out. In other aspects of life, we talk about how something is pure, and then if somebody does a variation of it that's now, we get mad. We're like, oh, you shouldn't have done that.
My man, that was the whole argument we had talking about Space Jam 2. In a nutshell.
All right, so firstly, I don't know why
like
you keep
fucking
bringing it
M&M.
up. I don't even remember. Like, I prefer to not really know it existed. And I go through life fairly consistently, not even remembering it happened. But you like to bring it up sometimes.
Well, you just talked about literally the exact same thing that's
I didn't
framed.
say Space Jam 2.
They made a variation of this. The classic already existed. Now they fucked up the whole sentimentality behind the original.
I think you wake up with a little bit more of a vendetta towards the LeBron than towards LeBron James, and I think you even realize.
Me?
Yeah, like why is
motherfucker? You just said when you add a variation of a classic, then people are mad about it because you now are destroying the value of the classic. Okay, so that's the same fucking thing. LeBron had no space there.
There's no other thing other than Space Jam.
But it's the argument that I've been making for a while. So now I just figured I'd go back to it, call back comedy style.
I'm just saying, I think that you have more of a vendetta towards it than you realize.
No, I don't.
Him.
No, I don't. Listen, fuck LeBron. I'll say that with a big smile on my face, in black and white.
How are the Lakers doing this year so far? Not so great, right? Not so hot?
I don't know. All I know is they got some beef boiling in the locker room.
All right. Well, we can get to NBA, but I will say that I'm just saying I think they cross lines sometimes. Like sometimes the variation that they make, it just doesn't. It's like it literally is like you added 2 chocolate bars together and you can take.
But
both.
So are you saying that this is not a universally applied concept? Because
no, I'm saying that if a bar isn't, what do you mean beyond chocolate bars?
Yeah. Yeah, because you didn't like the LeBron. I think you wake up loving LeBron more than you know. How about that?
No. I am loving the NBA. I don't want to talk about it so early, but it's
all
hard.
Right, listen, before we get into anything else, welcome everybody to the Kiona and Kasson podcast. This is episode number 115. Am I correct here?
I think you're right. 115.
Well, let's make sure that because we don't have another fact checker and we're the only ones here. So let's not be stupid.
No, it's 115.
Well, I mean, that was late. Not quite.
I didn't mean to do that one.
It is 1:15.
We should think the applause.
I should check those things before I started showing the show. Well, anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome all the new subscribers. If you are watching now and not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We definitely would appreciate it.
Is there a metric that tells you how many people aren't subscribed that watch?
It does.
What's the percentage?
Well, it changes
Probably
every
like
week.
95%.
Well, it depends. I mean, now we're moving up the charts, so not so much.
Yo, look at us. Billboarding.
Anyway, I'm your host, Adam, here with my brother, Osama.
Are we on the equivalent of the billboards for podcasts?
No.
Damn.
Hell no.
One day.
Hell, we have 212 subscribers. Listen, that's great for us. We've grown a lot in the last month.
We have. It's pretty
nice.
But
that's not ever making a wave in the podcast world. Not with how many people actually
212 subscribers is like the equivalent of like 3 people starting. Like, you know, when you're at
This is like when
no.
we started the week we started, we should have had 212 because between us, we at least know 212 people.
Yeah, but people don't, you know. Anyway,
Fucked up.
So no, what I'm saying is 212 subscribers in the grand scheme of things, like relative to
It's like 0.0001%.
I'm gonna give you the perfect like analogy. It's like being at some sort of sports game or event, right? And starting the wave, and then like 2 other people do it with you, and then the rest of the people, you know, you're just like
Everybody else just looking at you like, the fuck?
like what?
Oh,
like no,
Sarah
it's
just-
not that time.
Sarah just texted me telling me the trick-or-treaters are now beginning to make their rounds. You shouldn't hear any doorbell ringing here, but I don't know. These mics are sensitive.
Fucking
Anyway,
trick or treaters coming to steal our candy.
to finish.
I'm not going to stop
Introducing
eating the whole
who we
podcast. Be fat as hell by the end of the pod.
I'm surprised you'd be mukbanging all day anyway.
Mukbang.
Anyway, again, at 1:15 today.
Yep.
I am your host, Adam, here with my brother, Osama.
So the podcast turns 115 today, huh?
I mean, it's not 115
Is that how that
years.
works?
Is that like with months and babies? We'll get into that.
I'm just going to go with it.
My dog is also
Oh,
here
that's
behind
ridiculous.
me. Pass the fuck out. You might be able to see him underneath the chair.
No, he's literally right there looking at me.
This dog is ridiculous. But as long as he stays back there and not tripping over wires and shit, what are the secrets to like better wire?
I'm pretty sure
Maintenance.
all of this at a certain price range is wireless.
No.
No?
This is the only thing like this on the market right now. And yeah, that's right. I got the new shit. It was extra loud too.
Where's
you know?
where's the round of applause? Is that this one? Look at us with the only thing that's on the market like this right now.
What do they call that shit? Top of the line, state of the art. This is state of the art equipment, and this is the current state of the art.
Yeah. I guess that does make sense. I was gonna try to dissect that a little bit, like
You can't.
state of the art.
Can't.
Yeah, I get it.
And the current state that we're in is like we're on the rise to power.
Yeah, so we say all that to say we say all that to say, please, you know, if you aren't subscribed, consider it. We'd appreciate it. Do us a favor and like the podcast if you do, and leave a comment. We appreciate all that you do.
Leave a comment. Again, just to reiterate, don't timestamp when we're taking off shoes and whatnot. Like, I don't plan on doing that today, but if you have anything else to say, it's constructive. We appreciate that, you know?
That's all we ask. Just don't timestamp that.
Right. So, before we get into NBA stuff, since it is Halloween, even though we did technically kind of have our Halloween thing last week, by the time you see this, it's not going to be Halloween anymore, but it's Halloween today for us.
Yes, it is.
Sunday.
And I don't normally indulge in chocolate and candy all sorts of days, but
Could have fooled me.
well, today is a day that I will. I like Butterfingers, and I probably haven't had one since like last.
Acting like you eat candy one day a year with Joe.
I promise I haven't had a Butterfinger probably since last Halloween.
Yeah, but I mean, you've had other candy. No,
I don't buy candy bars, man. Like Vivi be buying them. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll have the bite size. It's never.
I didn't ask how you got it.
There's never full size candy bars in the house. If
I never asked like, hey, how did you get this candy? Just if you've eaten any, you know.
fucking. Speaking of how'd you get this candy, goddamn trick or treaters.
Yo, I think I've said this before, but these fucking kids, they're terrible, and hopefully they're better this year. But they don't say trick or treat like.
They just be looking at you like.
Here's the thing, it's because their parents fucking suck, right? Like, I remember when we would be out there, mom would be like, yo, say trick or treat, say thank you, take one piece, make sure, like.
But what if they give me more than one piece? Why would I do that?
But, like, at least just say it. Like, that's all you're doing.
Yeah, I guess.
Although I do feel like I would feel weird as a parent right now because, I mean, you go trick or treating in a pandemic, it's going to knock on the door and pick up some kind of virus.
Yeah, see, I'm glad. So I probably have said it on the podcast. We've been doing this for a few years now.
Something like that.
Now, I have gone without a doorbell for the better part of probably 15 years of my life. And it's probably the best thing you could do on Halloween. Like, you don't want to deal with having like, listen, I'm all for kids getting candy from people, but it ain't going to be me.
It's so weird because everything that they teach you as a child, like your parents would say, hey, don't take candy from strangers. It's all you do.
One day a year, they're like, no, you can go out there and you
disregard those rules
and trust everybody. Like, but that's not what you said yesterday. I don't know.
Go and knock on every random person's door in the neighborhood. You'll be fine.
It's I do remember Halloween being pretty fun though. Like there was a time where it was you would look outside on a Halloween day and everywhere kids, right? Like,
Yep.
what happened to those days?
Even
It's
on the school,
fucking
like
insane.
even during like we get off of school, be home by like what 3:30 or
Halloween-
whatever, and everybody
Halloween-
just out there.
Halloween was on whatever day Halloween was on, right? Like
Yep.
Tuesday, well, we out there today.
Yep. Didn't really matter, and we'd be out there till 10, 11 o'clock. You know. Now they have like mandates about what time you can start and how long it goes till, and like fuck out of here, man. Let these kids fucking have a day.
Well, I guess it's because you can't technically trust anybody anymore.
Well, I mean, you couldn't trust anybody before. It's just more glowing now, is all. Again, the internet amplified everything.
It's probably pretty true.
Yep.
You know.
Well, that's why they check your candy for razor blade. What kind of fucked up shit? What kind of cocksucker is putting a razor blade and a piece of chocolate for a child to eat? Like, fuck you, man.
Imagine the type of like, I don't know. That's effort. You got to put it in there. It's got to like slide in. You
You got to reseal the candy.
like, what is this all about? Like, who's this guy at his house doing this shit? Like, no, I'm good.
And it's probably one of those things that like it's happened one time in life, and then everybody was like, "Oh, be cautious of it."
There's only been one person that you should look it up. Like, oh fuck, I forgot. I haven't even had the clock on.
Whatever, It's Halloween. I ain't got shit to do after this. Maybe wash my stink ass dog. So we went to stats on how many razor blades have been
They're gonna
found.
flag you.
Hell yeah, they're about to get the FBI in the door. How many razor blades have been found in candy? I don't know if that's the right way to ask that question.
Probably isn't.
Poison candy myths are urban legends about malevolent strangers hiding poisons or sharp objects such as razors, blades, needles, or broken glass in candy and distributing candy in order to harm random
You
children.
got to be a truly evil person to like really think about doing that.
These stories serve as modern cautionary tales to children and parents and repeat two themes that are common in urban legends: danger to children and contamination of food. No cases of strangers killing or permanently injuring children this way has been proven. That's the one sentence I was really looking for there.
You know what happens is everything goes off of what an urban myth might be. You know?
But like, why the fuck was that started?
People are fucked up.
Like, who was the first person to tell their kid, hey, listen, people are fucked up and they might put something sharp or poison your candy? I'm sure that it probably has happened, like poisoned,
People who,
whatever, but...
Listen, I'm sure that it's served as some sort of a pretty good cautionary tale that may or not may be true, but at the same time, people like to people like to speculate. And then now with the internet, it's even worse, except you can look it up and say, hey, that's never happened.
Like just now. That was one sentence told me everything I needed to know.
But I avoid all this. I just don't have a doorbell. I'll be looking at the window like...
Somebody like Adam Sandler going to come through your house like, be prepared next time, asshole.
No, he's not, because he can't get through the... Do you think just because he's a grown-up, the doorbell's going to work? Like, get the fuck out of here, Adam Sandler.
Well, it doesn't matter if the doorbell, he saw the guy through the window,
You also can't come through my back. You got to jump the gate. You got to break through the door.
I mean,
I'm not
you
just
never know who
stupid.
you're dealing with, I mean,
Listen, it's not
Bruce
happening.
Leroy type
You're
of
not
guy
getting in
jumping
my
up and-
house just because you're mad that I ain't get motherfucking candy.
I mean,
I don't even got... We
people
do
might.
got candy. Vivi been buying it. I don't know why. But
because it's Halloween today.
no, actually, she's doing some like a marketing thing with her business cards as she does showings. Because she's also I think we spoke and she's new to real estate recently within the last
So
few
she's
months.
handing out little candy gift bags.
Well, when she goes and does showings, it's kind of like
Vote for Pedro.
essentially. So vote for Pedro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was on the way here, and I was like, all right, and I don't know. Most people tend to probably play the gas game while they drive, right? Like, all right, when do I need to go get gas next? Okay, so
Yeah, often.
and now I was like driving here, and I'm like, it's cool and all that they give me this this countdown of mileage expected, right? But let's be honest, it doesn't really give me a good, accurate depiction of what's left. Because after 30, you're left to fend for yourself, right? So you're sitting there like, how many miles?
Because then it just says low fuel and doesn't tell you a number.
Yeah, like how many miles have I driven?
It
You're
hasn't been
looking at-
helpful to get me here.
The needle goes from like, it's like, okay, the red is there, but like, at what point in this red am I done? And so After 30, it's like, oh, low mileage expected. Okay, well, can you tell me what that? You've been able to tell me what's expected the last 250, but now you're having issues.
Yeah,
I hate it. So
I think it's because when it gets that low, like when you drive, the fuel splashes around the tank a little bit, and it's like can't get an accurate reading.
no, that's like
I don't know. I'm just
I
making
don't really
excuses
think
for
that's
the
a
car.
big thing. No, so here's what I've come up with. Right, like you can tell me that you can give me some random mileage, but you can't give me the actual amount of fuel left in my fuel tank. Like you can't measure that and give me something and then the readout.
It would appear not.
They found out how to give me tire pressure. They've told me they figured out how to give me engine temperature, transmission temperature.
Even in an electric vehicle like a Tesla, the mileage
Is expected.
is just an
Okay,
estimate.
well,
you know?
I'm not saying that
and
that's right.
they can't account for
That's
the way
a
you're
little
going
different,
to.
though.
They can't account for the way you're going to drive your car.
For me, that's different, right? I think measuring liquid in my fuel cell, right, is going to be able to give me a better idea. There's got to be
Yes,
something.
but you have to understand it. Your car with a Hemi in it, all it takes is a little bit harder of a press of gas, and then now you have different gas mileage.
Yeah, well,
So,
I get it, but
they can't
you're
like
telling
give
me
you.
you can't read. Like they got to have something that they could put inside of the tank that reads.
They should have a range. Like you
Listen,
got 25 to
there's
35 miles.
There's going to be an obvious halfway point, right? Here's a good example as well. You buy a thing of oil, right? You buy a big ass gallon of oil.
Mm-hmm.
You look at, even on the quart side where what is there? A liquid indicator of where you are in your
A built-in measuring spoon,
right.
if you will.
It's not expected. This is an actual depiction of what is
but
left.
also, when they filled up those containers, it wasn't moving in a car.
Right. But I'm saying even
So I'm
when
saying
it's
that splash,
even if it sits
like for instance, when I'm in my driveway, it's on a little bit of an incline, right? So it looks like I have less gas. Then when I pull out and level out, it has a different reading. Like it's liquid, man.
Yeah, but I'm saying if I'm standing, even if I'm sitting still, there should be a good way to tell me how much is left. That's all I'm saying. If you can give me a number, you can give me a number of.
They're just machines.
No, it's a computer, man. Fuck that. Fuck that.
Well,
Anyway,
paid good money for this car. Tell me how many miles I have left.
I think
damn
we're all on just a sugar high. Like, all right, fuck it.
Oh, the other hilarious thing about Halloween, right? My dog doesn't give a fuck about most things. Loud noises, fireworks, thunder. It doesn't bother him one single bit. However, yesterday,
he hates trick-or-treaters?
Well, yesterday he was a little he was acting rambunctious, to use that word, right? Just very hyper. You couldn't figure it out.
Every time I come in your house, he's rambunctious for about 45 minutes, just running around in circles.
Honestly, the fact that he just sleeps when we're doing this is, or at least lays down.
It's pretty astounding.
It is.
He seems to just give up.
So, I was like, all right, man. Sarah was like, can you just like take him for a walk or something? So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll bring him for a walk. At this point, 6:30, it starts getting dark outside now, right? So I take him for a walk.
See a whole bunch of group of teenagers walking around with eggs.
Not even that.
Like we talked about. We talked about how they don't do that anymore.
Well, that could happen today. I didn't think I was going to see that yesterday.
Like eggs were that was back in a harmless like stage. Like things were harmful, but like at the same
They hurt, but
at the same time, it was like a harmless.
it was
stage
like
of
less
life.
malicious.
Yeah, like I got these eggs. I'm gonna throw them at you. It's gonna hurt.
It's a prank.
It's gonna burst. Right?
It's a prank.
Yeah.
Until
But
somebody's an asshole and they freeze the eggs or some
now we've increased the stakes. There's guns involved. I don't like any of that.
shit. Guns involved. That escalated quickly.
Yeah, man. Once ago, I knew it was gonna get. I knew everything changed that one time that our boy brought out his paintball gun. I was like, all right, we're bringing paintballs out. This is now starting to become real.
Like now jail is a possibility.
Right, like this is like it's not only a paintball shooter, it's a gun. Like it's a paintball gun. They don't call it a paintball shooter.
They don't
It's
call
not
it
like
an expeller of paintballs.
like, you don't go to to Cabela's and be like, yo, I need a bullet shooter. Like what? I need a
He's got a bullet shooter.
like, and I don't want to make fun light, but like that's not what they call it. Like so, he brought a paintball gun. He didn't go, yo, I've been looking for a paintball shooter. Like, you mean a gun?
I've been looking for a way to just like accelerate these paintballs at massive speeds.
I need something that shoots them at a velocity so quick that when when it hits something, it explodes and you can't even see the shells anymore. It'd be like, you need a paintball gun? I don't like to call it that. Like what?
But do you have something that's not a gun?
Like, like That's not what this. You're at you're like this is a gun store. Like I think you're looking for like
High velocity.
you're looking for the scientist store.
All right, listen. So I was walking the dog, right?
Bullet shooter.
And one of these fucking houses
Got
down
me
here.
this here good old bullet shooter. I'm gonna show you.
One of the houses down the block, they did a lot of
I do like the
decorating
idea
for their
of a
Halloween
six-shooter.
shit. I'm just gonna keep talking
I'm
over
saying-
him. So they like set up in the front like a boneyard cemetery, right? Just
Close
a
to
bunch
like
of
what my neighbors have. Those
kind of, but it's just literally a bunch of skeletons upright, and then there's like one main tall one that's like street facing, right? So he sees this. He doesn't like that, you know. He's like pulling like towards it, but like away from it, and like.
But have you passed
He's,
by
like,
other
howling at it and
Halloween
shit.
things that like decorations with him? Does he seem to have been affected
Okay,
by them as well?
yeah. Across the
So
street,
he's afraid of Halloween.
across the street, the lady who decorates there, she has one of those like inflatable decorations in the front yard, and it deflates and then re-inflates, and
like
he
a
sits there and stares at it.
like a wacky flailing.
Yeah, but slower than that.
What is it again?
A wacky waving inflatable arm flailing too, man.
I can never remember it, man. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so he'll just look at it and he'll start barking at it and shit like he'll start backing up, and I'm like, dude, we're across the street already.
You're getting big and bad now.
It's just a hilarious thing for me.
That's pretty funny that he's afraid of Halloween.
Like, I
things.
can't even feel bad because I'm too busy laughing at it.
So he couldn't So technically, he couldn't watch. If he was a human, he wouldn't watch horror movies.
It's a good question. You know, I'm gonna put a horror movie on tonight and see if he just like watches the TV. Because sometimes, depending on what I have on, and there's not like anything consistent, he'll just stare up at the TV and watch for like 10 minutes.
I read that there's a horror movie on Netflix that like people couldn't even finish most of them. It was like technically the most horrific, scary movie of all time. I don't know what it's called, but I read it. I was like, I don't know about all that.
I'll do a quick Google real fast.
Get Google check. I like
Can't
it. The Google check.
I can't talk today, you know, which is unfortunate because that's what we're here to do.
That's what we do. It's our pleasure.
Scariest.
Yo, I heard that Ice Cube turned down a whole movie because they made him not like he turned down getting the vaccination. And we ain't gonna talk about it because that turns into some political.
Is it The Eighth Night, or is it Things Heard and Seen, or is it Aftermath? They just give you a whole list of these things. You gotta just scroll.
It might be. Shit, I don't know. Popular horror movies.
But how the fuck am I supposed to tell?
I don't
What
know.
if I want to
man.
go back
said
and
I
watch
don't
this
remember.
shit? What if the people want to go back and watch it?
Girl on the third floor. The fuck?
What's she doing on 3 floors?
Cadaver? Eli? All this shit sounds like it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to watch.
No,
this.
I don't really care. Like
Not a
horror-
huge scary movie buff.
horror movies don't really get me, afraid.
I like the classics, like The Shining.
I like The Shining because he's got the Shining. No, I like The Shining because I don't know. The first time I seen The Shining, was the remake. It was like, remember they had the remake. It wasn't the one with Jack Nicholson.
Then what? Why did you watch that?
No, it was pretty good. It was like they had put it as a mini series on channel like 7 or something. Like they created a Shining. It's pretty good. And then I think I read the book, which was awesome. I thought the book was really dope.
Dang, you read a whole book?
I read shit. And then I watched the original. The original is crazy. But that movie in general was like, I remember Daniel was afraid of like the lady in that bathtub.
Man,
right?
everybody was afraid of the lady, and everybody was afraid of those little 2 kids who were like, red rum, red rum. Fuck those children, you know?
That was a good movie.
From the time that movie came out to the time MJ said it till now, still fuck them kids.
Yo,
Shit is terrifying.
Bernie might have said it the best.
Listen, everybody who said it is right. Think of all like the most scary fucking movies. They're about like children of the corn, you know, fucking little terrifying little bastards.
Is that the one where they lived in the cornfield?
Who are these people who are gonna come to a cornfield? I don't expect me to sell no peanuts out this.
She got some big ass titties, dog.
I you know what? It's been a long time since I saw it. I just remember being scared of it, so I didn't watch it anymore.
No, I mean, I don't know. there's not too many scary movies. For me, the movie has to be like, you know what's probably more of a scary movie or idea to me is the movies that become like crime thrillers, like, but they can even there's like that movie The Strangers.
You talking about like Night Stalker or whatever with the fucking Gyllenhaal
No, have you watched The
or
Strangers?
Nightcrawler? No, I don't.
Where
Maybe.
the ones where that family comes in, it's like a family, like a two adults and like a little child. They come and they terrorize like a couple in like the woods.
Doesn't sound familiar. Is it
They
new?
do it overnight at their house.
Is it new?
No,
No.
it was like 10, 15 years ago now. Yeah. But I always thought that those movies, the ones that are like Saw, like where you can get copycat killers, that's like where you're like, okay, that's...
Well, those are like more, yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's a few different tiers of like scary movie. You got the thriller, the horror, the fucking whatever.
I think that the movies that are more realistic are always going to be a little bit more scary than the ones that like you're like, all right, well,
usually the low budget shit is the scary.
There's the monster in the closet. There's no monster in the closet, really, right? We all know that, but the idea of that is like, whatever. I thought that reminds me. So I saw like a meme. It said "fit," like it, but fit, like a fit clown. But I was like, that's pretty funny.
Like, man, I'm gonna escape this bastard.
Imagine that, right? Like, imagine if it was fit. Like, he was like a big ass, just swole ass like clown who walked around like, and just instead of like a clown outfit, he just painted his body to look like a clown outfit. Fucking, that got weird real quick.
Yeah, took a turn for the worst. All my favorite shit from Halloween, it's like. It's residual from when I was a child, right? So like,
what's the movie with
Tales from the Crypt is my shit. Are You Afraid of the Dark is the shit.
I like all the Disney. Under Wraps was maybe
Under Wraps. I've been telling everybody, and you know what? The amount of people who don't know about Under Wraps is fucking appalling. Don't be fooled. All right, on Disney Plus right now, they made a remake, and I'm not gonna watch that shit. But the original one was like '96 or some shit when it came out.
See it on Disney
Plus? I've been looking up for it on Disney Plus. I can't find it now.
Oh, of course.
They put the stupid remake.
That one is funny, man.
That one's dope. It's basically just like a mummy who now I forgot how they got him.
I think the idea of Halloween being more of like a funny premise is a lot funnier to me. I don't know. Halloween doesn't.
That's why I like scary movies. Like,
yeah, like parodies. And
shit. Like those type of things. I don't need the shit that's like trying to actually scare me. Although there was one.
Do you get scared?
No. Usually they don't do shit for me. But the one that got me the most in most recent years, it's called Oculus. Now it ended like absolute fucking trash. But the ride to the end was fucking good, and I was so mad.
About? Can you give us a premise?
Let me just read a description so I don't butcher the
whole
thing.
You watched it, haven't you?
Yeah, but I mean, listen, just let me give you the. Let me give you the.
No, horror movies, I think they have to have some sort of realistic aspect to them that will make me want to watch them, because then I think that psychological aspect can affect your brain a little bit more than just like, oh, there's something underneath the stairs. But like, yeah, man, empty space that I probably should open up so I can put some storage back there. But
I feel like the description of this is gonna make it sound like it's the worst fucking movie of all time. But it's
probably gonna
trust
be.
me when I tell you it's funny, or not funny. It's actually scary for a while. All right, so hunted by the violent demise of their parents 10 years earlier, adult siblings Kaylee and Tim are now struggling to rebuild their relationship. Kaylee suspects that the antique mirror known as the Lasser glass is behind the tragedy.
You have lost
the seemingly harmless reflections.
So a mirror has done something.
The seemingly harmless reflections contain a malevolent supernatural force that infects the mind of anyone who gazes into it. I'm telling you, it ended like shit.
It sounds like it began like shit too.
But no.
Hey, do you remember when we've probably spoken about this when we rented what was that Jack and Jill or the Hansel and Gretel?
Oh yeah, we had the wrong one.
We were waiting for like who isn't it dude from the Avengers?
Yeah,
Nighthawk or whatever. Or
yeah, whatever the guy with the bow and arrows is.
So the movie that we were
and I forgot who the female, but she was supposed to be
who it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
but so we were watching it. And it never got to. We were like, "Where are these people?" Right? And the whole movie was just like this. That was one of the sick. We were like, "What the fuck She like cooked them kids, didn't she? At the end, she cooked them both.
Well, probably. I think that's like how the story.
That's how Hansel and Gretel goes.
Yeah, but like
the one we were supposed to watch was like, no, I don't. And they were gonna, but we
these were like, fuck.
It
fuck
never
that
got
bitch.
to that point. We were just like, when are they ever gonna escape? They're in an oven getting cooked right now.
To say the least, it was not what we thought it was. And you know what? I got it from Redbox.
Yeah,
at the time. And I was like, "What the fuck? Why do you have this bootleg ass
Do you
version of
remember
this
us
shit?"
watching it? We were like, what the fuck is this shit? Like,
I was so mad. I was like, "Man, $1.50 comes hard when I know."
we were for sure smoking, right? Like for sure, and at watching this shit back then. I don't know what.
Did we finish watching the whole movie?
Yeah, because
Fuck
we
did we
were
do that
still
for?
waiting for them. We were like, all right, do they come and rescue them? Is that what happens here? Like,
Is this one of those movies where like the stars come to last like 10 minutes of the movie?
Yeah, like I think that's thoughts. We all of this occurred because I'm like, yo, she's halfway cooked. I don't think they're gonna get out of this one.
There's no way this bitch is gonna survive this.
She's
It's
letting
impossible.
she's taken to the strategy of letting herself get cooked. Interesting strategy here. We'll see if it works there, Cotton.
He is not going to be able to see very well, Cotton.
Not gonna be able to live very well getting cooked. But yeah, that movie.
Be cautious. Like if you ever want to go and watch Hansel and Gretel, because I think I watched the real one eventually, and it was a lot better of a movie. But there's a
Man, I wish
just
this
a
was
really
what we watched.
trashy, fucking terrible version of it.
Did you also watch that movie where they were like in the and they were in it was like a westerner where they were like it was like super bloody, like some horror where they were like on a trail looking for people that got lost, and then they found this like civilization that liked to like slice people in half and like eat them. Yo,
Sounds like a fucked up time.
it was another case of I didn't know that this was this movie. I thought it was another one. Dude, that's happened multiple times, and I mean that one was interesting. But I seen things after that movie.
I've seen some things,
I
man.
seen some things, man. That shit was fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate that. Like, why would you make two of the same movie, different versions of it, and release them at the same time? One low budget as fuck, and the other one that stars people.
Like as a studio, I would be like, you can't do that. You're gonna have people be confused.
Isn't there some kind of like lawsuit?
Like whatever
shit there?
studio it is, they lost out on that 20 cents from Redbox. That
Yeah, I was mad.
Redbox still exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was an actually really functional like idea.
Well, it wasn't their idea initially. First of all,
Whose?
Redbox. It
Well-
was actually Blockbuster's idea first.
Blockbox.
Before before they completely went out of business, as they were closing stores. I remember because I was working at a grocery store at the time. They had
There was one near you, wasn't
There
it?
was one in the store.
Blockbuster.
It was it was a Blockbuster box, like a red box, but a
Blockbuster
Blockbuster box.
video.
A black box.
No, that wasn't probably gonna be a good one.
But then Redbox came like in the middle of them shutting down, but still
just
trying to
shat
survive.
all over 'em?
And they were like, let's just put all of our money into this instead of whatever they're doing. And
I think
they won.
eventually Blockbuster is going to come back to some extent. They're going to do something about it because there's going to be a thing where people want to be able to rent movies like in DVD form or
I don't think so,
VHS.
man.
I do think so.
Listen, even the fucking
People like nostalgia.
even video game systems, which used to be counted on for me to play, they're going like discless.
People
There's no
like-
reason for that. There's not going to open up something where you put hardware into.
people
the
like
system again.
nostalgia, man.
Yeah, they do, but only the people who already have the shit or are willing to pay a surplus are going to be able to do it that way.
No, I think that people like nostalgia, so they're gonna.
Everything is SD cards, hard drives. There's no hardware discs anymore. Like it's a thing of the past.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really even buy a car with DVD, a CD player anymore.
Right. And PlayStation 5 has a completely digital version, which I think is terrible.
Is that your phone or my phone?
I don't know. It might be both because I think there's some Instagram shit going on.
Oh shit!
We're in an Instagram chat together. Full disclosure. So
Yeah. Oh, we are.
in case that wasn't,
If that wasn't evident enough.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Halloween is. I was telling Vivi, I was like, as I get older, it's just not something I think about. I keep reminding we were at
it's every holiday to me.
we were at a brewery eating yesterday, and I was sitting down. And I was like, I keep having to remind myself that it's Halloween because I keep seeing people dressed up as Mario, and I'm like, why are you? Oh, it's Halloween. That's right. You're dressed up like some sort of like Amish folk, not because you're Amish. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm pretty
Not
sure
because
Amish
you're
people
dirty,
don't come to
not because you're
breweries
clean.
unless it's Rumspringa.
There might be.
Is
some
it
Amish there.
Rumspringa or Springa?
Do you think that they change their appearance, their outward appearance, when they come on Rumspringa?
I
Do they shave the beard and like come out there?
This
with
has
some,
been
like,
a common theme talking
got like some
about this.
polos and maybe some
I think that they go
Yeezys
out
on or some shit.
like I'm sure what happens is like when it's time for Rumspringa, they give us like in Top Gear when they send them out on a location, they give them like a chest full of stuff, like
And then they have like random notes drop into them and shit. Like,
yeah, like so. I mean, they go out, they open it up, and it's like, all right, this is what's current right now, so you got to put these on.
yeah, but who's providing that? Because the people who decided to stay back
I think that's
on
a
the
good
plantation,
idea.
I
We
don't know,
should
whatever
start
it is.
a Rumspringa preparatory school. You come here and you learn how to go to Rumspringa for about.
We'll give you like a weekend crash course on how to be American or like how to be part of civilization.
like to actually be integrated into society. Here's what you have to do.
It's not a bad idea.
Like we give them a whole dictionary of words that they don't
Get them
use.
drunk. Give them like 13 different kinds of hard drugs.
No, this sounds.
Get 'em a prostitute.
That's not. No.
Well,
Listen,
come on, that's the full experience.
We'll tell them that's what they're gonna have to do. We're not gonna do that.
Give them
the way you
give
said
them a
that was
mixtape
just-
of like our 10 favorite rap songs that are about like
Can I make you a mixtape?
gang banging and killing and shit.
That was a funny era. Like, can I make you a mixtape? Like, and you'd be like, I'm gonna tell her how I feel with all of these songs.
I don't think that the idea was to ask if you can make her a mixtape though. You'd be like, I made you this mixtape. It's my favorite jam.
I mean, that's probably a better way to go about it. Because I mean, if you ask, they're gonna be like, for what? I don't even want to like, especially nowadays. Like,
because I want to slap your butt.
what do you do say now? Like, can I make you a playlist?
Why are you asking still? It's the same concept.
Oh, I made you a playlist.
You don't even say that now. You just send it to her.
Send a link to my playlist. I sent you a link to my playlist.
And I named the playlist. I sent you the link to my playlist.
Here's the link to my heart. Total eclipse.
I don't know how we got into this terrible.
What's the
terrible
Millhouse's dad? What's the name of the song that he made for his wife?
Can I borrow a feeling?
Can you lend me a helping hand? Hurting hearts need some healing. Or then what he said? It was Glove of Love. That was the name, and he became like famous for Glove of Love. That's funny. Take my hand with your glove of love.
They broke up like 17 times throughout the course of The Simpsons. They showed me that love isn't real.
Millhouse's dad. Yeah, Millhouse's dad is like the equivalent of like, I don't know, man. He like remember when Al left the house and he got his apartment by the airport.
Oh yeah,
and he was single for a little bit, and yeah, that's always funny to me. Although Married with Children has to be on the top. I don't know.
Wasn't a very smooth introduction to the transition.
No.
Like,
Well,
people
I
were
was talking about Al Bundy. If you know Al Bundy, I listen. I'm just it has to be in a top 10.
Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill, because I'm watching Modern Family right now, and that's a really funny show, man.
Yeah, you can see, man, he's aging hard too. That guy.
He is aging just a little bit.
I mean, like
honestly,
not
all
really.
of our heroes from back then.
Honestly, not really, because like there's a big part in there where he's like still very.
Well,
him,
he gets
you know what I mean?
in shape. Like I
Yeah.
think he gets in shape, but I didn't watch the end. I'm sure he aged more towards that part.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what Modern Family is like 9, 10 seasons?
11.
11 seasons.
Yeah,
Damn.
I thought it was 9. I was like, fuck, we're gonna be here forever.
Now you're like, fuck, we're gonna be here forever.
Literally. So Vivi seems to like it, even though we've just not seamlessly transitioned to this. But
Yes.
I mean, it's getting colder, so now we got to find TV shows to watch.
Even when you're engaged, it's still cuffing season.
Sure, I don't know. I'm home. I'm not going nowhere. It's cold, man. Like I got to work in the cold as it is. I'll just be at the house anyway.
Over the last year and a half, I've come to the point where leaving the house is just the biggest.
I'm pretty sure you can
inconvenience.
count how many times you've left the house on like 2 hands.
Only if you don't include the card hunting trips and maybe some haircuts.
Yeah, there was a lot of card hunting trips.
But that was whatever. I was there with a purpose, and that was the goal. So
Oh. Man, I'm trying to think about I'm really bad during the week of like doing screenshots or marking things down for what we should talk about during the podcast.
Yes. Used to be better at it, but now I just kind of like, we'll talk about whatever we fucking talk about.
Yeah,
you know?
that's really what it goes to. I was like, you know what? We get a lot of podcasts like to talk about a lot of. We do talk about some
That's
of the
why
serious
when
things,
when I
but we
describe
try to
this
avoid
show
it.
to people who like ask me about, oh, you have podcast, what's it about? I say it's a semi-topical show where we just talk a lot of shit. Sometimes we talk current events. But most of the time, we just talk whatever we're interested in.
When you tell them, when you give them that description, do you take that like 2-second pause that you did?
Yeah.
It's a real semi-topical show, and we talk a lot of shit. 1, 2, and then
I feel like that was a long 2 seconons. That was a long 2 count you just gave.
I started the 2 late.
You're like 1,000, 2.
It's like if I was like in the WWF back in the day, not the WWE. Yo, PETA said they want baseball players. Speaking of, organizations that make you change names.
Names? See, I'm not the only one having a difficult time talking.
For the sake of their own fucking, whatever. And so PETA wants baseball, MLB, or just baseball in general, to change the name of the bullpen to the arm barn.
This sounds awful.
And we'll give him a round of applause because it's kind of a fucking creative name too. The arm barn. It's pretty funny.
He's also kind of reminiscent of Demi Lovato's quest to get aliens.
All right, before we go there, because I got opinions about her and her little Peter Griffin ball chins. But
so sad because I would have gave it to her before.
She was hot.
Just a crazy woman.
But now she's stupid. I was gonna say really stupid. But
oh yeah, and you're right. Royce59 said, "Don't call people crazy. It's dismissive." She's nuts.
She is loco.
Yeah.
So
estoy loca.
But yeah, PETA is ridiculous, yo. Like, shut the fuck up. Hey, PETA.
Honestly.
Hey, PETA, if you're watching, shut the fuck up. Like,
are they the reason that the NFL changed the name from the PETA from like pigskin? Like, oh, don't call it pigskin.
Listen,
that's the skin of a pig.
To be fair, right?
No.
Shut up enough. I do understand like some things like PETA does is probably really positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are
but some things, what are we gonna gonna just nitpick everything in the world now?
The idea that when people
don't call that a chair.
You know how like when people it's a bullet shooter. The idea of like when somebody walks out with like a fur and then somebody who supports PETA throws like fake blood on the fur. So I mean,
fur is murder.
I get what you're saying, right? I get it. Mm-hmm. But don't you think that a better use of that fur is at least to keep somebody warm?
Right, now you just ruined it. Ruin it. Died in vain.
Right, so now you've like ruined it and now nobody wears it. So that literally it died in vain for sure. Before, yes, I'm draping myself with this body of but at least I'll appreciate it. Now you've dumped maple syrup all over it and you've ruined it, you dumb bitch.
Well, also, listen, to some degree, I get like, all right, killing things for sport so you can wear their fur is stupid. But also, that came from somewhere. It's called the Eskimos and their need for survival, and that's why they fucking killed animals and used their hide for fucking shelter and made food with the rest of it. Like,
I'm pretty sure
those things are important. I feel like
further back than Eskimos.
Probably. I feel like the people in PETA, they're like the people who are fighting for a cause that they are never actually been exposed to.
So
that's how I feel.
The battle I'm waiting for is between PETA and PETA bread.
You have to change your name.
No, you change your name, and then I just want to see who wins that battle. It would be great to see somebody finally win.
They're gonna be like, you should call it disc bread because it's shaped like a disc.
I think it would be hilarious for somebody to win against PETA to change their name. What's the name? What's PETA stand for? People entertaining true.
It's people for the ethical treatment of animals.
Oh, you knew that, huh? And somebody's gonna say, "Yo, PETA." It's really confusing when I go and I want some PETA bread, but I've bought PETA. It was into PETA's organization, and now I'm part of PETA instead of eating a part of PETA.
I was at a local Greek establishment, and I wanted an additional PETA bread for my gyro that I ordered, and they handed me a pamphlet about saving animals. And that was just very unfortunate.
For your information, we both realize that these are the dumbest things we've said, probably all podcasts. But some of the arguments that PETA gives you is as dumb as that, or. True. Even dumber is Demi Lovato's argument about why we should not call aliens because, hey, that may be, not even maybe, she said that is derogatory towards aliens, or we should call them what? Extraterrestrials?
I guess. I don't...
Has
a fucking alien come down and been like, excuse me, can you not call us that? Thank you. I'm like, motherfucker, no, they did not.
It's not like we're calling them like planet bandits. Like,
There's still a theory at this point. Like,
dude, we found nothing that supports the theory that there are aliens anywhere. But I
I
will
the
say
government dropped their
that
500-page.
I will
ledger.
say that for the most part, I do think that there's probably aliens somewhere.
Without a doubt, 137%.
And yes, obviously, if we find what they
Keep it a
call
buck and a
themselves,
quarter.
we'll be like, oh, you don't call yourself aliens?
Right.
Most people will accept that, except white people. But what are you going to do? That's what they do.
Exhibit A being Demi Lovato.
Yeah. Listen, Demi, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, if you would just keep your mouth shut, you'd be
we
great.
got to get a sound for the sound bank that says, shut the fuck up.
Oh, man, about to go and steal that soundbite from Chappelle Show.
Shut the fuck up. You know? No,
The whole thing would be like, yo, dog. Or he didn't even say it. They said, hey,
shut the fuck up. You know, I was watching last week. I think me and Vivi finished on Netflix Cocaine Cowboys. It's kind of a cool thing. It's about these guys. I forget their last names, but
But isn't that it comes after some other series, right? Like, isn't that like a...
No, this is a documentary about two real dudes.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Were they actually cowboys?
so they were like the big joints, big guys from like 70s and 80s and whatnot.
Scarface types.
Yeah, but they were like the ones that were responsible for bringing in almost all of the cocaine for like a long period of time, tons and tons.
Nice.
Cocaine cow. Nice. Netflix. All right, so it's about.
McLovin. Nice.
It is about overview. Damn, where's it at?
Dude, I don't know how you're fucking... How are you not melting right now in that...
In your right here?
Yeah, like I get warm and then chilly again, and then like...
I'm pretty good.
You have your freaking hoodie on wrapped around your head like I don't even know.
I'm pretty good, to be honest with you.
Well, word up, then. You know?
Don't
More
be,
power to you.
Don't be mad at me because
I was just asking, you know.
I'm just asking. All right, so damn, I'm not trying to go to Netflix. I don't even know my password right now. It's about what's these guys, Willie and Sal. So Willie Falcone and Sal Magluta, right? So in the 70s and 80s, this is the first episode's synopsis.
Wait, so Willie Falcon?
Willie Falcone.
That's Rick Ross mentioned him in a song.
Yeah, these are guys. So in the 70s and 80s, friends Willie Falcone and Sal Magluta leave humble beginnings behind as they allegedly ascend to the top of Miami's drug trade. Nice. So the way it happens is they're trying to get into like that criminal organization. They're selling, they sell whatever. But these guys are like really ballsy guys. They've known each other for a very long time. I think they're like childhood friends. So somebody that they know has a big organization, and he's like, yo, give me an opportunity. So eventually he gets like 40 kilos he's got to get rid of, or some crazy number, and he gets rid of it quickly, right? So he's like, all right, I can. So they get going, and the guy goes to prison, so he hands off the organization to him. Anyway, these guys are making money like hand over fist, but they're not like your typical like drug dealers. They're not super violent, apparently.
They're in it for the dough.
They not only that, they have a speedboat racing team that's championship winning. Like while they're doing it,
so they're high profile, low profile.
Yo, they in the face of everything. I think you should watch it. It's really good.
I guess when you're not like causing a bunch of violent disturbances, you can get away with shit like that.
Yeah, because like while there was war between other crews, they kind of didn't. They were like all that does is bring heat. You know what I mean? Yep. But these guys, dude, their story when they go to jail for one. I don't want to give it away if you haven't watched it.
I have not.
So you should check it out. But just know that they're like, it's a really interesting documentary. It's like 6 episodes, like 40-some episodes.
Do they eventually get violent?
Do
they eventually, out of necessity, have to?
Out of necessity, yeah. Right? But like, you're never going to be able to guess how they got to that point. But I do recommend Cocaine Cowboys.
So they had high velocity bullet slingers,
bullet shooters. Okay.
Well, that's slingers. I feel like shooters is really close to a gun.
I feel like slinging means I'm like slinging. Shooting means like.
Well, they were also slinging coke,
pew, pew.
So it's double entendre. You know?
Yes. But no, they were doing. These guys were like, it was really interesting to see. Like, obviously, you've heard Cocaine Cowboys before. You've heard of like, that era of just a lot of drugs being shipped from.
Yes, that's when it was born.
You know what I mean? And they were talking about how they were doing trips and doing 3 or so trips a week or so or a month, I think, from here to Colombia.
Who was the president at the time who did the war on drugs? Reagan?
Reagan, I think, was 80s. I don't remember who was in the 70s. Carter or some shit. Couldn't tell you.
I forgot.
Either way, listen, I never claimed to be a historian of any sort.
All I know is I passed the only necessary test in high school that I needed to know for history so that I may continue along with my life. The Constitution test.
The Constitution test.
Which, I mean...
Do you remember do you remember? I just know, freedom of speech is, the First Amendment right.
The fact you got to double check the first one is hilarious.
Second is right to bear arms. I think.
The right to have bear arms.
Imagine reading this later in life. Hold on, actually, so let's just go to we shouldn't be making fun of it, but we're not a.
What do you mean? Why not?
We're not a serious podcast. So
listen, everybody who made those laws were a bunch of racist fucks, and they probably all stink.
The Constitution of the United States of America, right? So we're gonna read the
Bill of Rights.
No, the amendments of the constitutional amendments. Here we go. Wait,
but the Bill of Rights is the first 10. Everything else is an amendment, I think. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Look at you knowing history and whatnot.
Hey man, listen, I'm smart sometimes.
Sometimes. Bill of
My capacity
Rights.
for intelligence.
So the Bill of Rights. How many amendments are in the Bill of Rights? 10. I just want to read them.
Yes, the Bill of Rights is 10 amendments.
Why is this giving me such a okay? What?
Yeah, so many amendments in the Constitution of the United States of America.
I don't like how this is going. Yeah, you just keep talking for a minute while I try to locate a better. What are the first 10 amendments?
That's part of why I always remember what the Fifth Amendment is. Because Dave Chappelle, look at educational and hilarious.
The First Amendment provides freedom of speech. Second is protects the right to keep the. That's it. It is spelled like bear too, so it's protect the right to keep and bear arms.
That means if you fight a bear and you win, you get to cut his arms off and then you get to put your arms in. I got bear arms now.
And then you see that guy walking down the street. That guy's beat a bear.
That's a certified badass, man.
It's like a medal of honor.
It's almost like where you if you're a black belt, right? You got to register your hands.
This is the dumbest thing I think.
You got to register your hands as lethal weapons.
This is for sure a Family Guy.
So if you beat a bear, that's your trophy. Oh man, let's not fuck with that guy.
Look at it's in the Bill.
If he can beat a bear,
they can take your arms.
If he can beat a bear, he can beat a. You can dodge a ball.
Before you fight the bear, you're like, listen, it's right here that if I beat you.
Wait, let's lay the terms first. All right. This is if I win here, this makes it onto the Constitution. That's the.
Oh my God.
Do you think they had that kind of a barter?
Huh?
Maybe somebody owned a bear, and then they were like, all right, my bear's going to fight you now. And if you win, we'll put it in the Constitution that you get to own his arms.
Where'd you get those bear arms? I beat a bear. I don't know, man.
We just lost every subscriber we gained in the last month.
I have the right to bear arms.
Talking about beating up bears.
Why'd you steal his arms? Because it says right here, I have the right to bear arms. Okay, so... what the heck? Are you laughing?
Oh, man. Hopefully other people find this stupidity as funny as we do.
No quartering of soldiers. I don't know what that is. I think not. They don't have to come to your house.
Oh, yeah.
You have the free...
You don't have to let them take over your house, essentially.
Yeah. So I pretty much... She's going crazy. I think it's because the trick-or-treaters.
No, I think she's going crazy because she's watching her Harry Potter marathon right now.
You know, that's a crazy fucking movie right there. You go nuts. Well, I'm pretty sure the only one that's funny is the bear arms. So I'm not going to go make fun of anything else.
Well, I mean, clearly...
Because you can't really... There's nothing else
Chappelle was able to make number 5 funny. So
yeah, but he did that.
You just got to do it correctly is all.
He's like, I was in some punani. But no, I think the idea of the right to bear arms is maybe my favorite. If we had somebody that create cartoons, that would be funny as hell.
And I'm pretty sure that you're right, and Family Guy actually did make fun of bear arms.
If you don't kill the bear, he's like, damn it. Then you see the bear walking around with no arms.
Does the bear
Like
have the same right? Like, was it like if you beat this human, you get to take his arms?
I don't know what the Bill of Rights for bears is.
I imagine not. You don't know what the Bill of Rights for a Constitution is.
Yo, let's go to break.
Has it been long enough for that
It's
already?
been long enough, and I think we can tell.
All right. We'll be back then.
Bye.
It's better. It's better. It looks more tamed now.
Don't use the word.
Still-
Never use the word tamed.
It's still kind of looking.
When
It's
speaking
still kind of
about me.
sticking up in the back though. But
I don't really care.
it's just things that I try to be alert of myself, since we're being recorded on an audio or in a visual platform as well, not just audio. And
You got some people that are trying to be alert of yourself too.
I'm trying to make some people alert. Intruder alert. So yeah, we talked about a lot of things, and we talked about the amendment that there was more jokes to it, and we just thought of them too late. So
the right to bear arms.
yeah, I think the moment's passed on that one though. So
it has.
So maybe we should talk about like actual important.
Yeah. I
things.
was gonna say let's get to the first serious topic.
Yeah.
Let's put a round of applause for our man Hova, the God MC. What you looking for? Gunshots?
Oh, I used the wrong one.
It's just not.
That's
a
my fault. I
satisfying
used the.
gunshot.
I'm gonna take the fucking machine gun off there. It sounds like
Yeah,
ass.
it's terrible. I don't know why you just used that. I think the round of applause was better for it. Anyway,
Whatever.
round of applause for Jay-Z.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Hove.
I don't think it
was,
was ever going to be a surprise that this man was going to be inducted, but
Yeah, he was voted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yesterday, along with who was the other person?
I
Damn,
I
it's
didn't
somebody
read
that
the-
you should remember. I can't. I read it this morning. If you want to look it
It's
up,
going to sound like pure disrespect that we don't
read
know
it,
right
yeah,
now. Too.
read into it. Why? Because I didn't know they inducted it. Like, it seems like they do it so like under the radar. To be honest with you.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But as we all know, Jay-Z's been around for a long, long time, and he's probably, I would say, Jay-Z's probably the most influential rapper that may have existed, right? Like, I mean, he's done a lot, and it's arguable that he is the most influential rapper that's ever
Even beyond
graced the mic.
rapper, almost like he's said it himself, and it's kind of true. He's transcended hip hop. Like he's definitely made a mark in a lot of areas of life that
True. But I'm just
people
saying,
who were like that was their focus haven't made that such an impact. On some
I'm
people's
just
things.
saying though, like in regards to, that's how he began, a rapper, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, in regards to where he's gone to, you got to say he's the most influential because
There's a lot of important people on this list.
Well, who was? So go ahead and read it off.
So there's a couple categories, right? So performer category: Tina Turner, Carole King, The Go-Go's, Jay-Z, the Foo Fighters, and Todd Rundgren. Not really familiar with his work, but
Todd who?
Todd Rundgren.
You get a round of applause too, man. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, clap it up for him. Then you got the Early Influence Award, Kraftwerk, Charlie Patton, and Jill Scott Heron. Give it up for her, of course. Musical Excellence Award, LL Cool J. That's probably who you were thinking of.
That's who it was.
Even though Jill Scott is also just as important in that Foo Fighters as well.
Of course.
Not to
I just
dismiss
meant in
anybody
terms
else.
of the MC
right.
category.
Even though they don't have it listed that way, I don't know. Then Billy Preston, Randy
Because
Rhoads.
I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame looks at it more in a broad spectrum, probably. So
I have to look more about what this award is, but Ahmed Ertegun Award.
I don't know.
But Clarence Avant. So, congratulations to everybody on that list. Huge names.
One last round of applause for everybody.
I'll read the little thing that they put about Jay-Z there. It's only a small paragraph that probably doesn't do him justice.
Go ahead and display your public reading skills.
Says, Jay-Z has maintained authenticity with hip-hop purists while still achieving incomparable, whatever way you want to pronounce that works, commercial and business success. Many have tried, but no one has come close to knocking him off his throne.
Kind of what I just said, but in better words.
I would think that's a very fair statement to make in regards to Jay-Z. he's the GOAT, man. Like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. I
It's
know.
about time.
Yeah.
It's about time. What are the rules to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Do you know? Do you have to be
I have no idea.
technically?
I'm not
You know,
that
like-
well informed.
Like, you can get in while still being active, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, obviously, he's still, even though he retired, he came back and has not done it again. So, then, of course, I'm sure, was he already, he was the first class for Hip Hop Hall of Fame, right?
that happened already?
Didn't they do the first class already?
I don't know.
Pretty sure we had an episode where we talked about it.
Listen, we've had many episodes where we've talked about a lot of things.
Well, anyway, it's nice that hip hop is starting to get more and more recognition in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, for sure. And it's just a congratulations because we all know what Hove's body of work looks like. We know
Right.
what Hove has done for hip hop and for the culture in general. Mm-hmm. So it's just great to see. I saw pictures of them celebrating yesterday. Looked pretty cool. Looked like they were having a great time.
Yeah.
And that's just it.
Which
man.
I'm sure, I mean, at this point, I think, like, it's what most of his time is. Like, they have, like, the Hove brunch he does with everybody, and, like, they just kick it, man, and they talk about
The Hove
shit
brunch?
and how they're going to change things. Yeah.
Pretty sure it's called something else. I think it's called what's the name of it now? Not Rock. It's not Rock.
The Rock Nation brunch?
Rock Nation brunch.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
not the Hove
It's still
brunch.
the Hove brunch. That's Hove's business.
It's like so basically bullock shooter.
yes, it's just a synonym.
It's the most like
It's the most comparable word,
specific. Like this is what it does. It's a bullet shooter. It is a Hove lunch.
Oh, so you're talking about, like, remember how we were talking about in Top Gear? That's how they would explain things, like what they did, not like the names that we would call them.
I've had a wee.
Yeah, but you were the one making that point before, so
Yeah.
I feel like you should know what I'm talking about.
No, I think it's just dope to see. Congratulations, Hove.
Yes, absolutely.
So other than that, in the music vein, there's not much that I know that's come out in terms of music.
I feel like there was. I got, I told you to get like those Apple News updates telling me about what shit came out.
Currency is releasing again, but Currency releases almost every fucking
Currency
Friday.
is the hardest working man in hip hop, hands down.
He releases music almost weekly. It's crazy. But you know what, man? He's always working, so I give him credit. And he always looks like he's just having a fucking great time.
I haven't listened to any of the new things that have come out, but apparently there are some things. Big Sean and Hit Boy put out a EP called
Okay.
What You Expect. Haven't heard any of it. Megan Thee Stallion put out something for the hotties.
I guess when I talk about music coming out,
Reason, Wale,
I meant
and-
for me. Oh, Wale has
Benny the
released
Butcher.
a new album called the Falarin 2, I think.
Do you hear who's Reason, Wale, and Benny the Butcher? No More, No Less demo.
That's just one song.
Well, there's 3 songs on there. I don't.
Oh, yeah, I will. You know who released the album was Ransom.
Yep.
So that was pretty good. Him and I forget who
Rome
it is.
Streets.
Rome Streets. Yeah, they. I think they just collabed on an album together, but that was really nice. I listened to it on Friday.
I'm super behind on music. I haven't listened to a lot of what's on here right now.
I mean, I just kind of now just resort back to just music that I enjoy,
when did this come out?
and it's not always hip hop anymore.
I feel like this should have got some hit that applause again button for this one, man. Iron Man 25th anniversary. It's 2021.
You know what?
Ghostface Killer,
I
for
saw
those of you
that
who are unaware.
on YouTube. He was breaking down a lot of the tracks.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Ghost is up there on my list, man. One of my favorites.
Yeah, he's he's definitely one of the most enjoyable rappers to listen to for sure. Like, I don't know, like I was even watching him talk. So I was watching some the other day on YouTube. They were doing what's dude's name that does with Elliot Wilson? Something Rock. D-Rock. I think
Yeah, I
D-Rock.
think that's right.
He does some brackets, I think it's called, on Complex. And they do it where they have them basically, Ghostface was on there and they were like, all right, they did basically a bracket system where they were trying to see like a Final Four bracket system essentially. So or a 16, big 12,
With
big whatever. Rap songs.
Okay.
Right? So they did storytelling. It was like storytelling tracks.
Yeah.
So they had him rate him and stuff like that. But he was like, the way he was talking about certain Like when they were, because they had him go up against his own songs sometimes, right? So they
Yeah.
were just, the way they were asking him how those songs came about, it's just like really dope to hear him talk about. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
he's pretty, I guess it's no surprise that somebody who's so vivid in their art is just as, like, for instance, when
He has a way with things.
when Nas talks, it's just as much you want to hear Nas talk, just as much you want to hear Nas rap, because Nas says things like in a way that's very it draws you in, you know, and you're waiting for him to.
It's not just like charisma, but it's like something else with that. Where it's like,
you know who else has that? It's like, and it goes on. I
hopefully
guess
us. Maybe that's why we only have 212 subscribers.
we may have pretty. Our voices may sound like nails on a chalkboard to people. Like I feel
might.
like most people think that their voice sounds like that to them.
No,
you know?
actually, I since we've like got the mic and headphones set up, I like it better now.
I'm not the biggest fan of my voice.
I didn't like it when we were only using a camera and didn't have the mics. But now, like, I feel like it's a more crisp.
But that's because there was an echo. You know who? Yeah.
Oh, this room's an echo room too. Woo!
But no, I think what the conversation is getting to is talking about like it's basically the best voices in hip hop.
Yeah.
They have an ability when they speak to
Everybody listens type of shit.
Yeah, their voice basically draws the room, right? So like Jadakiss, when Jadakiss speaks, it's very gritty, but like very I don't know. It's the reason why you want to hear him rap,
Captivating.
right? Because it's the same reason you want to hear him rap. You know, when Method Man speaks, when
That's why I always say with Jay, he doesn't sound when he's talking like the sound of his voice is different from when he's rapping. You know, and he's just like and I know this. It's not like with Nas when he's rapping and he talks. You got the same Nas in a way, but Jay just for some reason it sounds like it's just different. I don't know. It's hard to describe, I guess, but
I don't know how much I agree with that. I honestly don't. I think I hear. I guess maybe in the cadence in which he speaks and raps, like the difference between that. Pop was a bad idea. It's making me burp.
milk was a bad choice.
Milk was a bad choice. But no, like I think that, and that's why, you know, I don't know, like even like just speaking about LL, like LL going into the Hall of Fame, but whatever. But he has a specific voice that you'll listen to LL speak. You know, he may have, and some people may say he's kind of like. I mean, I don't know. He hasn't displayed his ability to rap very recently at all, but I mean,
Well, yeah.
I'd be interested to see if he still has the pen. I mean,
you got people who are still putting shit out randomly. Like I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure there's like a fairly recent Rakim track somewhere.
well, they did just do their verses, so
Yeah,
you know.
And then they have Tech Nine is just regularly putting out shit. Onyx came back, like, so there's space for him to get in there if he wants to go and drop something.
You know who's probably got the most, the craziest, probably more recognizable, and I don't know. It's one of those voices. Damn it! I forgot to put. Oh, my phone's back there. Put the alarm, the fucking timer on. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
I don't know, man. All I'm saying is, when it all came down to it, Ghost is one of my favorite because he's got like his ability to deliver is like funny, but it's also like he can get on some drug selling gangster shit at the same time, and it's a different format for him than a lot of people have.
That's the best thing
And then, of
about
course, his
Wu-Tang.
voice.
And that's what I was.
You know?
That's who I was gonna go. I was going into a Wu-Tang member, RZA.
Yeah.
RZA's voice is probably his rap voice and his regular voice is the same, and it's probably the most recognizable if you know rap.
Right.
But
Which, if you want to claim that you know rap, you should know who Wu-Tang is, and you should
No,
be
of
familiar
course.
with a good amount of their shit.
But I think we've tried to do this before. But the top 5, rap voices, I thought was something we should speak about, and we can get into that eventually one day.
Yeah.
But
a lot of honorable mentions on that list.
yeah, man, it's but in terms of music, there's been a few things that have been out, but I don't know. Do you expect anything to come out for the rest of the year? I don't think much is. I mean, we had the J. Cole's. Do you think Kendrick comes out before the end of the year?
Nah.
No.
Not before the end of the year, unless he wants to do like some surprise, motherfucker. But
Do you think Kendrick comes out at all?
yeah, I think my prediction is we'll see something from him at least another single by like mid-January. I don't think we'll get anything before that though.
You know where my stance lies with
He
him.
might pop up on a feature, but to me that's not.
He does that a lot though. He pops up in a lot. Well, my bad. He pops up on features a lot more than. I don't know. I think just sometimes I get annoyed when like you're waiting for an album from somebody and they just keep popping up like and give you little teasers. You're just like, that's nice. But how many damn teasers are you gonna give me before you decide that you're gonna put an album out?
Hip hop, if it's one thing that has always remained true, is that you will get, hey, we're gonna put an album out in the next month or whatever, and it gets pushed back or whatever. Like Drake has been, I think, the most recent example of that, right? He eventually put out his album, but there was like 9 months leading up to it where it was like, yeah, in 2 months, yeah, next month, yeah, in a week. Like, it's just the nature of the beast.
We're in a peculiar time with music to come out anyway. Like
It's
are you able to tour? Are you able to not tour? Like, what are you releasing? Are you releasing music that nobody's ever going to hear live? And by the time you're able to release it or to perform it live in front of somebody,
But that's been the challenge.
Is it going to be dated?
That's been the challenge for the last year, you know? Like, how do we
And
go
that's
and
the
tour
thing,
this
like,
music?
so
And why are we going to put out a project where we can't go and tour and make the money that we actually really make there?
There's a lot of industries that have changed over COVID and obviously based on like music or based on what we've seen in music has changed probably most drastically because people aren't releasing a lot of music. Or I don't know if you know if
They are, though.
There's
a lot of music out.
Well, what I was going
That's
to
come
say is, even if they are they putting their best foot forward in the music that they're releasing?
I mean, I think they still are.
Some are. Those who aren't really concerned with performing. Right?
Not even that, because think about it this way:
not every venue is open, is what I'm saying. So like, there's not as much. I get
it. What I'm saying here is like
room on the table for everybody to make as much money as they were prior to COVID happening. So that's what I'm saying. Like they've had to change what they do. Like they've had to use the internet as a platform to make more money to draw. That's what I'm saying. But they've
had to. Now they obviously have to get a little bit creative, but also they are still, I think, going to be putting their best foot forward for tours because think about it this way, and this is kind of an extreme example.
Are we talking right now about the main acts or the acts that aren't as afforded?
Talking about any act
aren't afforded
that
as
depends
much leeway in their art.
Any act that depends on touring to make their money, and that's where they're going to do it.
My argument is yes, that's true, but the problem is now there's so much more or so much less space available to perform because
it is.
If it's not outdoors, it's not many places are allowing big capacity crowds right now.
I get it,
and if they are, not as many people are comfortable with it.
Secondary to my point. My point here is basically this, right? If you went to go and see, and this is an extreme example, but like Nas concert happens 2024, right? Things finally open up. You're gonna be excited, obviously, for him to perform like his newer shit that you like, whatever. But you're always gonna love when he goes back to that shit. You know, whatever. Like he's gonna.
Okay, but I'm not speaking about that music.
These artists will always be able to tour their shit
in the middle, right? Are you putting something out that people didn't necessarily? So music's connected to a feeling or like an event or a memory, right? So let's say you hear certain things and they evoke, or is it invoke or evoke?
Evoke, I think.
I think evoke some sort of emotion or feeling from you, right? And if you listen to something during lockdown or something came out during lockdown that wasn't lockdown appropriate necessarily, like people probably weren't listening to like the most, club heavy records because they weren't going to clubs. They were at home. They were listening to things that were probably more somber during this time.
Not necessarily. I mean, listen, people like their music, and it doesn't matter. And you're gonna do it, even if you're doing like, this album came out and it was on lockdown, and I would clean the house to it and shit. Like, it doesn't really matter. You grow to love the songs that you love, and you're gonna want to love to hear them performed anyway. Like, yes, they're not gonna always have the ability to be as current when they're touring now, just because of this fucking era that we're in. But like, it's not gonna be a disappointment for you for one of your artists that you went. If you went to go and see the concert, the music is whatever they're gonna play. They're gonna know what the people wanted to hear, you know.
Yeah.
And there's still a reflection of that, even though if it's on like streaming and shit, that's one of the benefits, right? Is you have a lot more analytics and data, so you know what people are playing regularly. My fucking Apple at the end of the year shows me the songs that I played the most regularly throughout the year.
Yeah,
so if they're
Spotify
giving
does
me
the same.
that, then artists definitely got it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
the problem is during this time, well, I mean, just in the era we're in right now with streaming music in general, like, there's a lot of the albums that I'll be like, oh, that's a good album, and I almost never go back to it.
For sure.
It's the ones that have stood the test of time, I guess, to most people.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about the idea that, music, just in general, like all industries, for instance, office jobs, right, downtown.
Yeah.
After everybody decided they could work, or they're going to decide to work remote, or they decide for everybody to do remote working,
Yep. Been through that.
and they realize, right, that, yeah, and that, right? So, like, they realize that, we don't need to lease this large space, right? We're not going to do that. Companies are reconfiguring, and so are employees. Like a lot
employees are doing the most.
of employees are
This
deciding.
is like a mass exodus right now.
Yeah, they are deciding they're not. They don't want to work, or they want to do other
Tired
things.
of being underpaid and underappreciated. I'm gonna go.
Everybody
go
is
else.
plotting to get, or has already.
I feel like that should always be on your mind anyway. Not like a pandemic should have spurred that.
Well,
thought,
we've talked about that. Like the generations prior to us, necessarily, like it's our generation that began being. We're in this peculiar space also where we were brought up where everybody before us was saying college, 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 right? And not only that, it was a go to college even with a blind, without really having a path for what you're trying to do going forward, right? You got your eyes closed.
Just wandering the road.
Go there, you'll figure it out.
That's the stupidest advice you can give anybody.
Some of the
way.
dumbest idea of advice I think anybody's ever had. Like whoever created that thought that, you know what, you'll figure it out. Just go there. Not only that, like it's expensive as fuck. You're at the only loan that you can get without almost a shadow of a doubt is a student loan as a 18-year-old, an 18-year-old.
And they allow you
kid.
to take way more than you need if you are in that situation.
Dude, they let you take so much money. So much.
And maybe that's not the case if you go to a university where like it's expensive, but like places I've gone, and I've gone to like a few different.
Right.
know.
So some obviously, right. If you go to a school that's like a lower tuition school, you're gonna end up with extra money. And at 18 years old, you're gonna be like, how much is extra? Cool. Let me get that. Nobody. I mean,
especially if you're in a situation
Dude,
like us where like I moved out of my parents' house. My job pays me like shit. Oh shit, I can get an extra six grand back this semester. I'm taking that.
Dude, they'll require you to go to like some sort of loan, like loan education or
loan counseling.
Yeah, loan counseling, and you'll be like, all right, cool, and then you don't learn anything.
It's not even go anywhere. What are you talking about?
It's on. You just got to click it online.
Yeah, you basically just say, "Oh, this is what happens if I don't repay you. This is how things." Okay, cool.
Right. You don't care about consequences. You're 18 years old. Like,
all they wanted was your signature here.
I need this $10,000 so I can go buy some shit for myself.
Fuck is my dog doing? Trying to look out the window. Yeah, I don't know, man. They definitely.
So that's the beginning of like this bad idea, right? Send us to school blindly without any kind of idea of what we want to do.
And in the first
what
place,
if you don't care about? What if you want to do like
this becoming the traditional route? All that means to me is that at some point the powers that be put in this fucking like structure, and then every generation afterwards was like, "Oh, this makes sense." Then they were able to retire, have a little bit of money at the very end of their life. Like that's how you fucking want to live?
Dude,
you want to work until you're 65, 70 years old? These days,
dude,
we're not even going to be able to retire at that point.
No.
So now you're literally like, when I'm unable physically to do anything, now I can stop working? That's great. No. Like, you should be always looking for ways to improve your situation.
Agreed.
And I don't think that the pandemic should have been the thing that sparked that thought. It's great that it did, though.
Perspective is important. So you got to think about the idea that nobody's ever... nobody in recent history of the world has had to just sit down and had no choice but to sit, and not just one person, everybody. So again, everybody was able to sit down and look. Excuse me, man, I left my water downstairs too.
Cough to the left.
Yeah, cough to the right. So everybody had to sit down and kind of just think, right? And you get to look, you're like, man, wait a minute, I don't really like the idea of what going back to what was before. Like it didn't seem like it was meant
Well, no,
for my benefit at all. And though we knew this, when you get to like where you're just sitting and you're just like, oh, I don't necessarily have to go back.
it wasn't even just the time
people
to ponder.
people became hustlers. It brought up the ability to like, people thought about their dreams, man. I think a lot more of this.
It wasn't just the ability to sit and think though. It was also when you look at how the world operated when your job is now considered essential, but you've been treated like shit, getting paid like shit. Now all of a sudden they're like, no, you're important, but we're not gonna treat you like you're important or pay you like you're important. And then like the people who, whatever their job didn't have the ability for them to continue working and they got laid off, then they're like, oh shit, now I got to scramble. And yeah, right, out of necessity, became hustlers, try to find ways to make ends meet,
Yeah.
All that, the culmination of those things just kind of like, it puts you in a different headspace. And now like you said, on a more broad scale, everybody is kind of in that process. Like, okay, whether, it was the losing the job or being treated like shit at your job as an essential employee, the thought process, they all came to a head at the same time, essentially, right? Yeah. And now everybody's like, man, like regardless what situation I was in before this, it was a shitty situation. Like I could have done a lot better. So
I think it brought a lot of change to things. Hopefully, it's for a lot better because I'm talking about like our generation was left in this part, right? People like us.
Yeah.
The kids right after us were in the place where they were like, nah, fuck that creativity. Yeah. We're gonna and people were supportive of it. And before it was like, you want to do what? Look. You can do that after you go get your degree, but like, what the fuck does the only thing the degree does is come with fucking student loans majority of the time,
right? And then you come out of school making
who the
fuck
fucking
really
pay him a fucking student loan off? You know how much that shit ends up being?
By the time your student loans kick in, the money that you started making at your job is still not enough to do anything,
baby.
Yeah, you got to live at home for another 10 years before you're able to do anything with that shit.
Dude, I hate the idea of student loans so much, and I have them, and I don't like it, but. I mean, it is what it is, and you got to maybe if everything happens for a reason, you have those, even though you don't. There's things that you've learned that came with those bills, obviously. So.
Right. I mean, I guess the idea of school is more about. It's not solely about the educational experience, but everything around it as well. But yeah, I get enough of that.
It's the social aspect. I think that you benefit from mostly during that time. I think.
Yeah, I mean, just the different interactions with different people and different situations and different walks of life. Like, it's just all those things make you a more well-rounded person usually. But again, that only really is true until high school is over. Like,
well, I don't know.
And I feel like high school is important. Like, I feel like everybody should graduate high school, like get a full high school education, even if you are whatever.
Oh, of course, you should at least.
Even if circumstances bar you, go get your GED. Like, learn what's important there. Most of that is important shit for you to know throughout life. College it's a possible path.
Yeah, I think it's meant for those who still want to be pumped into this. Like, I think it's for people who need instruction. Like, and I think college also does. There are a few things that it does help you do, right? Like, even though I didn't really care for school in general, the idea of like doing presentations and public speaking and delivering thoughtful.
Only something that is important if you're going into a career where you're going to do public speaking.
Well, I mean, or just that not being shy and like, you know what I'm saying? Like the ability to speak in front of people without having apprehension, right? You should be able to like,
you know how many times I went up to a front of the class in high school and had to read things to the class or whatever? That's the same
reading
thing.
Things and also creating
do projects.
PowerPoint.
All that shit existed in high school too, though.
I think to a different extent. But you went to like one of them suburban high schools. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I had a very...
I don't remember how many fucking projects I did in fucking...
the schools that I went to had some different styles. Yeah. Like obviously Disney started the whole thing and gave it a different base.
I'm just saying that school, like college, like it helps you understand a little bit about you. If you do it in a social aspect a little bit more than educationally. Or if you can,
you have to do both.
If you can have a balance, right? If you can understand if you can understand like a little bit about like what you enjoy, and if you take that time to understand yourself, just as much as they try to make you understand, like what you're technically going to school there for, you know what I mean?
I think college is mostly important if you have like a dream job or whatever, that part of that process requires that step.
I'll never argue that real world experience doesn't help more than school. Like I
just think
will
you can't-
depending on the jobs you've held in corporate settings and retail settings and
depending what your goals are in
physical
life.
jobs and things like that, they're all going to help you more than obviously school.
I just think depending on what your
But a
goals
combination
are,
of it helps a bit.
depending on what your goals are, because you can't learn everything in school. Like there's not a school for everything. There's maybe things that will help. There's like support, right? Like if you're going to be an actor,
Elon Musk,
being in a drama
created
club
a school
was
for his
probably
kids.
great. Being in theater was nice, but like it's not.
Being in theater, did you ever?
No, I was never
did
in
you ever
theater.
participate in a play?
No, well I did, but
What was the play?
it was a 8th grade graduation. We had
No,
like
I
a
meant
no,
like a
we had like
production.
an actual like we put on a play. Remember they had like the Lion King, Phantom of the Opera.
Oh
all that
yeah,
shit. Yeah. So I was in a Phantom of the Opera. I was supposed to have a bigger part in like the Grease thing that they did.
but off by technicality that I sucked, they didn't want me in.
No, I turned that down.
What did they want you to do?
do? So they literally turned like a Grease Lightning musical up there, and I was supposed to,
Grease the lightning.
and there was literally like a little cardboard car where it's only on one side, and you're supposed to just drive back and
They
forth.
wanted you to do that.
I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit. Fuck out of here.
They didn't want you.
That
to have
shit's
a
gonna
big
be recorded and in history in this school. I'm not doing that.
They didn't want you to have a big part. They wanted you to have a big prop.
Yeah.
So you weren't gonna say anything but drive this little fake cardboard card.
Hey man, Glenn was he had a really big Lion King role in that.
He
play that
was
we did.
Simba,
He was
wasn't he?
Simba. So we had it like into a big musical, and man, I wish I had like a video that I could post and show you guys. This shit,
Oh
but-
my God, how was he?
He did a good job. He did a good job.
Glenn is goofy enough to want to do well and to be Simba.
He could have definitely done some more like Broadway type of shit.
I've never been in like a play. I've been in like theater classes where you have to like do scenes and whatnot. Scenes are always fun, I thought, but
Yeah.
looking back, I kind of there's a few things I wish I'd have done. I wish I'd have played an instrument, right? Not the drums, but I mean maybe
what?
the drums.
What do
I
you
don't
mean
think
not the drums?
Well, I don't think
It's
they
the only
gave us.
instrument
I don't think
besides,
they
like,
gave us the option to play drums back.
They
in
gave us
Disney.
fucking flutes, or what do you call the recorders?
Well, no, they gave you could
Hot
play
cross buns.
I think
hot
I
cross
remember. I can remember piano. I could remember
Yeah, but did they teach
violin. I can remember like bass or cello, something along those lines. Tuba, flutes, saxophone. I wish I'd have played
you?
probably saxophone. Saxophone, saxophone.
Release the spit valve.
The spit valve. No, but I do regret that. And honestly, well, I do wish I'd have played more sports, but that was just the lazy in me. And all of this was the lazy in me.
And just the
I
complete disdain for being in
probably
that
try
building.
to be in some sort of a play. Why not? For
But
what?
see, you don't even need to.
For the why?
I mean, like you can go and just audition for something, and they'd be like, "Oh, we like your look. Somehow we'll find a way to fit you into this movie." It can happen. You don't even need a play.
I'm
you
not
know?
saying I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm
No, you
talking
just
about,
want that experience.
Yeah, I'm saying why wouldn't I have done it? I don't know.
You wanted to leave no stone unturned. However, that stone still left on one side.
Anyway, dude, I think it would have been probably cool to be doing. So what did you do in that play? You didn't drive their car, so you.
No, I became a Phantom of the Opera member instead.
And then what were you doing in that? Were
there
you
was
the
like-
Phantom
there was
or
like
the opera?
No. There was like just like some glowing.
So essentially,
I stepped right
so
back
let
out
me
the spotlight.
let me
You know
ask you. Let me ask you something. Did you go in there?
I was Homer Simpson in the bushes, like.
Did you go in there hoping to be like not a big part, or did they just not see anything about you that was important enough to give a big part to?
As I told you, I declined the other.
Well, that's not such a big part to be the car that drives back and forth.
Listen, man.
I'm talking about. Did you go?
I don't remember how things went specifically. Mind you,
No. I'm asking.
This was grade school. I graduated
you
in
can
2004.
You remember? You're just trying to tell.
17 years ago.
You just playing.
No.
Yeah. Did you go out for like? So it's Grease. What's Travolta's guy's name and the fuck? Did you go out for Travolta's part, or did they
No.
say, "Hey, you look like a car driver"?
No, they didn't go for Travolta's part. There was no like formal audition.
So it was like a line of people, props, actors, props, actors, and they threw you in the props line.
Was that when Homer was the football coach? Was like, cut. Oh, you're definitely cut. Cut.
So did they throw you in the cut line, or did they try to get you to give like a speaking part?
I was like shuffling over to the cut line because I was
so
like,
you didn't
about
want
trying to-
why were you in the line at all anyway if you didn't want to do anything?
we were all in a line.
They made you do this?
Just all like, yeah. Like,
Oh, it's for graduation, you said, yeah.
yeah, it wasn't like just a
And then Glenn was
drama
like,
club.
I want to be Simba.
through the path unwinding.
He came and he's like, oh, I just can't wait
all right, let me
king.
slightly set the thing, right? So Circle of Life was the song, okay? And
The circle of life.
this is how it started. We had in the auditorium, all the way on the left side, like off the stage, was a piano. And Glenn was on top of the piano, shirtless with like some yellow like parachute pants type of style shit, and like a net blanket type of thing, right? So
A net or a nut blanket?
a net blanket, right? So then they start doing a
I was
song.
gonna say it's a little early, but never mind.
Then the light people shoot the spotlight on Glenn on the piano, and he's like waking up. And he's knocking the net blanket off of him. And then he starts wandering through the crowd, and he's like,
That's what he was doing,
Man, I
by
swear,
himself. So how much he had a lot of like parts, huh?
he was the main person for that particular play.
Well, so like did they do the whole Lion King? Like he performed all of Lion King?
No, just the Circle of Life song.
Just the Circle of Life?
Yeah.
Why did? So they didn't give like the backstory.
No, they didn't perform the entire Lion King. They performed. It was like a interpretive
Can you
dance,
imagine?
right?
I got to do all of this.
I don't know if like they worked with him on the steps or if he was like, I'm just gonna wing it. Don't worry about it.
I know exactly how to. I've been doing. This has been my like. Glenn told him he's like, I've been preparing for this part my whole life.
I'm pretty sure if I'm not mistaken, he might have had like some face paint on to have like whiskers and.
It's
a
just
black
funny
nose,
that like they only did a Wimboet or Circle of Life. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was an 8th grade play to see our way out of the school. There was other shit to do.
So when was your Phantom of the Opera part?
Somewhere between Greece and Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do.
What the fuck? Anyway, the NBA.
Yeah.
No, maybe this is we'll talk more about that on the Patreon. There's more to speak about. Anyway,
Shit's hilarious. Yeah, NBA. So
firstly, I'm gonna,
Zion's fat ass need to come back.
okay. So Zion has what I learned is he has the Jones fracture, much like what I have or had.
Right.
And I don't know how he got it, but I would assume because he's a much larger male than I am, it happened during some sort of more glorious thing than mine, because mine happened while I was walking into the water for the first time ever.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the Jones bone is a
if you're
very
not
easily fracturable bone.
Well, no, if you're not familiar what a Jones fracture is, it is a fracture of the 5th metatarsal of your foot, which is going to be the last bone.
When you get hurt, sometimes you learn things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you understand what like the vernacular is when you talk about it. So it's the last bone between. So it's the last bone between the pinky toe bone and it by like the heel.
It's all the way in the outside part of your
on
foot.
the heel. So like it's like right at the nub, like right at the middle part of your foot on the outside. It goes to basically the.
So it's like your arch type of style.
It's the it's the small bone between like where it connects to the toe and behind, right? So that it's very vulnerable. Man, I got cheese on my fingertips. It's very vulnerable, right? So what happens is if you put some weight on it incorrectly, and you can shift your body, or it could just be a freak little thing. For me, what happened is when I walked, I put my blanket down, right, and I was. Set
the scene for it.
Yeah, man.
I laid my beach blanket out.
I laid my beach blanket down. And
put my little picnic basket on there.
No, so we were in Freeport, right, Bahamas, on a cruise. And I've told this story before, but I put the blanket down on the water.
I feel like you left out the blanket part. I don't know that part.
Well, we had gotten off the jet skis, right? I hadn't been in the water, in the ocean, I don't think, since... I think maybe I was a toddler where our parents went out to Florida to visit one of their friends. I hadn't been in the water ever, the ocean. So this is my first time walking into the water. Of course, right? So I put the blanket down and I go to take a step, and the beach was pretty small, so we were right by the water. So I had like maybe 2 steps before I'm in the water. I take my first step, and it's like a hardened like sand roll. The water sometimes forms it a little bit,
Right.
and I turn and I go to run, and I shifted my weight, and I felt like a nice little sharp pain.
So your second step into the water, you went to run?
First step, like I was like, I went to go run into the water. Like I was like, I'm going, you know, yay, you know.
Ah, fun.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to say that's what was in my head. So I go run in there, and I felt that pain. I was like, I don't know what I did. I felt something, but I didn't know what it was. It wasn't like
Didn't feel
I
nice.
didn't understand the severity of it. Either way, what happens is you can fracture that bone pretty easily. For me, it was just that Zion's much larger, you know,
He is.
and he's had issues with his feet before. So he went through surgery, meaning I'm pretty sure he got a screw implanted in his foot because I also have a screw in my foot.
Would explain also why there's no timeline for his return, or
Yeah, they don't know. He's not. He's playing, as they said, one on none.
and his ass
And
sideline
just
is just
doing straight-
fucking doing what Sam do on the pod, just be eating all day on the sideline.
On the pod, but I don't do this elsewhere.
No, I'm saying him. Like
Yeah.
he took a page out of your book and he just like
That motherfucker's eating. He's over like 300 pounds, like we said in the last pod. So I think I get it. The when you have that, it's
you
hard.
wonder why that fucking
it's hard-
Nike busted off his foot.
It's hard to be active when you have that, right? It was pretty painful.
Yeah.
But hopefully he gets back. The NBA, though, as a whole, I'm going to echo the sentiments I heard Draymond say. And somebody else was saying it as well. But the league is much more enjoyable to watch right now.
The league is in a good state.
It's
currently.
pretty fun to watch. It's a little more physical.
And hey, guess what? The Bulls are actually like a
The
competitive
Bulls are a
team.
contender, and fortunately enough,
You got the first L.
so are the
day.
Knicks.
Yep.
Because I love that Derrick Rose is on a team that's doing well, and he's doing well himself. However, the fact that it's the Knicks upsets me just a little bit.
Right.
So I got to give him.
Fuck
I'm gonna
Pat
be like,
Ewing.
go the Knicks and Derrick Rose.
You gotta sneak
Yeah,
it in there.
that's it. So I will say that it's pretty fun to watch. The product is different because if you're not aware, they put a rule in place during the off season that says that you can't, this contact that you create on your own, like for instance,
Like if you lean into somebody,
Right.
you ain't getting that as a foul.
creating that contact on a shot that isn't there, right? So the Steph Curry shot where he steps back, he pump fakes, and as you're in the air, he jumps up and at you and then releases a shot. That's no longer being called.
Should have never been called in the first place.
Players like Steph, Harden. What the hell is his first
James
name?
Harden.
James Harden. Jeff Harden. Who's that? His brother? So
Jeff Hardy, is that who you're
Jeff
saying?
Harden. So James Harden and a lot of other players who are used to that contact being a strong part of their game, or a large portion of their point, total, because they go to the line and they shoot more.
Yeah.
That's no longer being a thing. But with that being now something that they don't call, the game has become
Real defense is necessary.
somewhat of a little bit more physical, somewhat of a little less like ticky tack, right?
And it's been that way for like the last decade. So
yeah. So it's nice to watch the game become something a little bit more enjoyable. The product. I don't know that
with
it's
talent spread out. It's like
there's a lot of talent spread out there in the league right now.
There's a lot of talent in the league right now. That's the big
Yeah.
thing, Like obviously for the longest time, the West Conference has run things. They've been the stronger, and then the era of super teams really kind of threw the axis off, and like everything has just been lopsided for a long time.
Yeah, there's not really a super team right now. But here's what I'll say.
Yes, there is.
The guy
They're
that
supposed to be anyway.
If there's some person I think there's a guy that's sitting across from you who predicted that if all goes well with the Golden State Warriors and Clay, they might actually win, and they are doing pretty fucking well.
The guy across from you did not dispute that at all.
I know, but
what
I said
he disputed was
I said it.
LeBron and the company having a good fucking go of it. And fuck them.
I will say what it's nice to see is because people were talking shit like he was out the league. Melo Melo is a fucking like it's nice to see him. He's shooting efficiently. He's actually scoring quite a lot.
Lala was weighing him down, huh?
Huh?
So Lala was weighing him down, or he's like, I need to make some money. One of the two.
I am broke.
Something
She
is-
took all I got. Yo, speaking of that, if I were Will Smith, I might kill Jada Pinkett Smith. Like if I were him, like at some point, it's like, yo, you done? Are you done? Put some fucking respect on my name, you know?
Yeah, I go and burn that red table.
Yo, that red table would be like, it would be on live on television. I'd like literally just like,
I Hardy Boys and fucking suplex that bitch through the red table.
dude, I'd be like, you need to stop. Like, stop talking. Like, why are you doing this to me? Will Smith be literally just like
He's like, I'm trying to be a good man. Just let me.
right, like you won't stop. I'm trying to be good, but you're trying to get the killer out of me every time. Anyway, back to NBA stuff. It's just really cool to see that the league is allowing the game to continue because those kind of fouls really destroy the flow of the game.
There's so many things that ruin the flow of the game that is influenced by the referees.
Right, and it doesn't allow the rhythm of the game to continue. It doesn't allow the players to play.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of whack-ass calls. So
And it allows these players to become like fucking drama students instead of athletes. Like, dude,
flopping.
you should want to face in your profession. You should always want to face the best competition.
Yeah,
and that's what makes you the best. You beat them, right? It hasn't been like that in the league for a long time.
No, it looks like it's actually becoming a better product because of this rule change.
But there are two super teams that still exist technically. Brooklyn still is technically a super team, and so is Los Angeles. They're just not playing like it. So,
is it raining?
no, I don't think so.
Oh, sounded like it. Anyway, no. Listen, I mean there are super teams, yes, but they're not like sure things.
Do you see?
To me, the super team is going to imply that we're pretty certain this is going to win. Like for instance,
they are pretty certain they're going to win. They signed LA first of all. They signed fucking everybody who they could who would be considered a superstar
we've seen
at
this
any given
happen
point.
before.
With LeBron.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about like with the Lakers specifically when they signed Gary Payton, Karl Malone, and friends.
Yes.
While during the Kobe era, and they it was when they were facing. It was during the time that Shaq went to Miami. And I remember that was the time where they were like, it was like where they were at the tail end of their careers, and it was like almost championship chasing.
Twilight.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. So,
but that's what the league has been for the last decade at least now, right? Like people are that's why the super team thing was a thing, is because people are like, yo, it's the fastest way to a ring. I'm not trying to be spoken about like Charles Barkley. Say what you will about Charles Barkley not having a ring. He went up and did his fucking damnedest.
Oh, he's a legend, man. He's a legend. He was a part of that top 75 that they just named that we never went over. But like, I mean, everybody knows about it right now. It's the 75th anniversary of the league. So they just like when they did the 50th best player or 50 best players 25 years ago. 25 years later, it's obviously 75 years now. If you can add or understand what we're talking about. So
25 more seasons to select only 25 more players.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see some of the players that are removed from the 50 because of who's come along in the last 25 years.
I have to compare the list. I haven't looked at.
I mean, you got to think about it. There was like no LeBron. There was gonna be there was no Dwayne.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You add 25 people, but you're gonna now, because of these people's existence, you're gonna take the other people who have earned their spot prior to that out of there. I don't know. Listen, man, you always got to recognize your pioneers.
I believe so.
You always got to recognize your pioneers.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's the 75 best. That means there may have been 10 more that came along that are better than some of the bottom 10 that were the last 40 to 50, right?
Listen, man, if you compare the
I
players...
don't know if this is in order. I don't think so, but if it is, that's fucked up. Like, oh, you 75th. You just made it. You just made it, dog.
Well, I think you have to do it that way, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they.
You can't put Michael Jordan at number 75 and put
list.
fucking.
I don't think Michael should be number 1. I don't think he is. Look at the list.
I feel like this is just gonna be a list that's gonna make me mad, you know. And then what's his name? Dwight Howard, right? Got mad about it.
Dwight was mad. I mean, Klay Thompson was mad. I get it, but I don't think you done enough yet to say. And Dwight was just a dunk champion. I don't know, and I don't think he deserves to be in the top 75.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely not going to go over all this because there's obviously 75 names. But it's not numbered. It just has everybody listed. So I don't think that it's in any particular order.
Yeah, see, so I don't think it's in a sequential order based on
Because, I mean, you got Kareem first, which you can make an argument. But then you also got Ray Allen second, Giannis the third.
That's not a thing. No, definitely not. So yeah, see what I'm saying? I don't think it's based on their skill or where they're held. I don't know in order. It's just hey, all these players are on this list.
One of the ones who did make this list, Dame Lillard.
Yeah,
he was actually talking about it too because they were asking him.
Did you see his freestyle? That was not bad, man.
He's been nice with it a little bit.
Dame can rap.
But he was basically telling everybody like, yo. I'm in it for the long haul in Portland. Like I'm not leaving.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be leaving.
And that was just fairly recently. He said that.
I'm not fucking leaving.
So that's what I'm talking about. You stick with your team. Like you're trying to pull it out. Like eventually LeBron came back and got Cleveland a ring, but he left first.
he's got that old school in him, and I like that. So
yeah,
give it to him.
Yeah, for sure. I like Dame. I'm a big fan.
Yes.
Not a fan of Portland. But as a Chicago fan, you're just kind of trained to hate everybody else.
You know, the Ball brothers are winning. I think a lot of people over based on their play and their abilities.
Which that's what it should be.
Yes, indeed. Like, and I'm one to admit that. Oh, if this player has done something to improve their game, you got to acknowledge that.
The reason why now I will find more respect for Lonzo is
he's a bull.
He's not. No, not that. Fuck, you can be a bull and I still hate you like Carlos Boozer.
Yo, speaking of that, real quick, I just want to say if you're a listener of ours and you are a Target goer. And you are not a sports card lover, but you are a lover of this podcast. We would love for you to pick up
basketball.
Yes, pick up some of that optic basketball for us, and arrange for us to somehow pay you for your ability.
PayPal, Venmo.
Yeah, and you could send
Zelle,
that on
whatever.
this way. We'd appreciate that, 100%. Target has just increased their ability to withhold some basketball cards instead of sending them out, online. So if you go to that sports card section and you don't necessarily love ball or cards, but you love us. If you love us,
you can just gift it to us as well.
Hey, and if you know what, or if you love the shoes, right? Just saying, if you like, send some of them cards this way, man.
Think about like when
we'll set up a little PO box.
When like suitors are trying to get a woman, like they just kind of send her a bunch of things.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
All right. So my point to Lonzo, right, is I think based on his basketball career prior to the NBA. And based on all
Are you talking about LaMelo or Lonzo?
Lonzo. I just said Lonzo.
The one that's with us.
Yes. Okay. And then based on like all the theatrics that were around them before any of them got drafted, I expected much more of a showboaty, let me be a cocky fucking dick face on the court.
He's not that.
He's a humble point guard, and he looks to pass first. He's not like trying to shoot half-court shots all day. That's really what I expected when he came to the league. Not when he came to Chicago. Obviously, we have a little sample of his work before that, but I just expected more of a.
He's more mature than you would have thought he would have been.
Yeah,
but even LaMelo he gets to it, man. He knows how to hoop.
But LaMelo's also he be taking them shots.
He's a beast.
But he's a shooter though.
He's a beast, man. I'll say he's gonna be really nice.
I really wish LaMelo would have came here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that'd have been nice too. But I think at some point the brothers are going to want to play together. So
also, I can't help but laugh at Caruso every time I see him on TV.
Yeah,
just such a goofy looking kid.
But he's kind of winning me over, man. I'm going to say he's kind of winning me over. And
yeah, he can hoop too, but he just like he just looks goofy.
You know who's hooping right now? RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett is coming alive, I think.
Nice.
Again. And so that's nice for them card values.
Yeah, I got quite a few rookies in my closet.
That damn Zion, his cards are not. They're lowering the price a little bit. Sucks.
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Especially when we pulled out that banker, and now you got to just kind of hope that it goes back up.
Yeah, it's just chilling now. It's just chilling. Anyway, so
yeah,
I got nothing else.
Well, and let's get to sneakers and let the kids go and get their candy and whatnots, and then we'll get our little after party happening.
Yep.
Yeah. So I see since your foot is already the closest to the camera view.
Yeah, I'm wearing the same thing as last week.
You ain't got not a single thing on that matches those things either.
I just felt like wearing these things. Never seen a blue duck before, but be honest, I wanted to see a blue duck.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's what I did. I wore blue shoes.
I've seen a duck with a blue head before.
You
The
have?
rest of the body wasn't blue.
You've seen a blue-headed duck?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
Well, back when I was actually working like in the office, there was a big ass pond on the outside, and there were just ducks. There was swans.
So you're saying to me that?
Have you ever seen a duck go underwater to try to look for food?
Yeah, I get it, but
This shit is hilarious.
I need to
Their feet are stuck up in the air and shit. Like,
like they're stuck, and then they come up with food. No, I'm more curious about the blue-headed duck. How does duck's head become blue?
it was like
Adam,
like a
Sandler?
shiny, like a peacock feather type of thing. You know, like it wasn't like super vibrant blue.
So like his color. Okay, so it was like natural. It wasn't like
Yeah.
like
No, it's not like somebody dipped their head in paint. No, nobody drew the duck blue because
they wanted to see a blue
blue
duck.
duck. No.
Anyway. So what you wearing?
Well, because we're talking about the Bulls and the Bulls being the fancy team they are this year, these are the Adidas Crazy 8 Chicago Bulls. For those who are familiar with our mascot, Benny the Bull has a little tie-dye tip on his head, so there's tie-dye color on the inside. There's a little cow fur, fake-ass cow fur on the tongue. It's just a shoe that, you know, like, if you look at my closet, if you look at where my fucking hats and everything, there's Bulls everywhere. So I saw these shoes, and I was like, well, I have another pair or two of Crazy 8s. I was like, they're relatively comfortable. I have to buy these, so I bought them.
Well, there you go, folks. That's how you decide to buy things.
That's that and on that, you know. But happy Halloween to everybody out there.
Enjoy.
Hope y'all.
Hope you're eating your candy. I believe me and Adam have eaten enough chocolate where we had like a little sugar crash.
I only had 2 pieces.
That's
the
enough.
rest of them are still right there.
I'm sure that's not the only chocolate you've eaten all day.
No, it is.
Yesterday
Yesterday I probably had a couple pieces.
Yesterday was yesterday.
It's a new day.
Bringing up old shit.
I'm telling you. Yeah, you're gonna see this by the time Halloween is done. But hopefully you had a good Halloween on that idea.
A good, safe Halloween. Please
right.
enjoy and be safe. Guys.
Hopefully you let your kids like fill up a pillowcase, come home, drop it off, go back out, get more.
Yeah, let them get as much candy as they can. People are giving it out. Just let them take it.
Bring them to people's houses that they don't like, so they can throw eggs at them and drive off. Like, you know, be a parent.
Yeah, man. Halloween needs to be fun. Allow it to be. Make Halloween fun again.
Yeah. I don't even want to like borrow that.
Well, make it fun still. I mean, how the fuck else are you going to say it?
I'm sorry, man, but he ruined that whole like. There's no fluidity to that.
Unfortunately, there's not many ways around that phrase. So.
Anyway, as typical, you know, go and follow us on the socials. I posted a story today on the podcast page because Sam made me. So
yeah, I told him you got to get active on that so people can see us.
So now you can see us and the things that we use while we're potting. Follow us there and on all those things: Facebook, Instagram, Meta. We'll talk about that next week too.
Yeah, that's
and Twitter. We're everywhere. Subscribe here if you have yet to do so. I know we called you out in the beginning to do so, but if you made it to the end and still haven't, be like, now is a good time. Otherwise, that's pretty much all we got for you. We're going to get to this after potty and whatnot.
Yep.
So for episode 115, I'm your host, Adam, my brother, Osama, and Benny passed out behind Sam. We'll catch y'all in 116, man.
Peace.